Stage 1, pressing for flight.
Launch trajectory on countdown 1. We are go for launch.
Yes, sir. Reading you loud and clear. Clear. The clock has started. The clock has started.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Atlantis launch director. Air to ground 1.
Atlantis, go.
Okay, Fergie. We're starting to feel pretty good down here on the ground about this one today. So on behalf of the greatest team in the world, good luck to you and your crew on the final flight of this true American icon. And so for the final time, Fergie, Doug, Danny, and Rex, good luck, Godspeed, and have a little fun up there.
Hey, thanks to you and your team, Mike. Until the very end, you all made it look easy. The show is always going to be a reflection of what a great nation can do when it dares to be bold and commits to follow through. Without ending the journey today, Mike, we're completing a chapter of a journey that will never end. You and the thousands of men willing to give their hearts, souls, and their lives for the cause of exploration have rewritten history. Let's make this fall one more time, Mike, and witness this great nation at its best. The crew of Atlantis is ready for launch.
Thank you, sir. We'll get you going here in a couple of minutes.
And welcome to Pressing for Flight, live from the Space Coast, where the schedule never holds. I'm your host, Stephen Marr. With me this evening, we have Stephen, Mr. Kegel.
Hey.
Matt, Mr. Jordan.
What's up, gentlemen and ladies?
Matt, Mr. Cutchow.
What up?
Bekah, Mr. Penland.
Hello, everybody.
Mister.
What? And our guest this evening is one Brent Lohaus. Yeah.
Hello, guys.
Hello. He is, at one point in his life and career, was the orbiter integrity clerk / access control monitor, and also an aerospace quality assurance inspector for the thermal protection systems facility. AKA,
Yep, that's correct.
This man worked on Space Shuttle. And so you and Kegel have been friends for years, and so I wanted to play this video, and I thought it was appropriate that Kegel suggested having you on the show because obviously we're all getting geared up for returning human spaceflight to the Space Coast. I can only imagine like how sad that was that day when Atlantis flew. Were you working on it at that time?
Yeah, yes, I was.
And what was your job at that moment? I know you had a couple different ones.
Yeah, I was still a quality inspector for the thermal protection that went on the shuttle.
Yeah.
All the thermal tiles and thermal blankets and gap fillers and stuff like that.
So, I don't know. How long before the last flight did you know that the last flight was coming? I mean, we all kind of knew that it would eventually, of course, but how long before the last flight did you know that it was coming? And did you feel like you had enough time to prepare for that?
I guess we always kind of knew this day was coming. Once Bush said that we're going to come to an end with the shuttle program, and we're going to start with Orion, or I guess it was Ares at the time.
Right.
So we were also, we were also kind of working on some Orion capsule type stuff at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
there's no way to
on the wall.
There's no way to make it not sad, right?
Yeah.
How long did you work on the shuttle program?
It kind of seems surreal too, but I started right out of high school. I got a job as a orbiter integrity clerk, and which was also called access control monitor.
Mm-hmm.
It was part of operations security. We it was actually a really cool job considering it was like an entry level position. We got to see, got to follow the space shuttle through all its processing stages.
Mm-hmm.
We would like the idea behind the job is like there would be techs that would go inside the shuttle, and they were going to bring in tools and chemicals and stuff, and it was our job to log that kind of stuff into like a paper database basically to make sure whatever the tech brought in the shuttle, he would actually take it back out. at the end of his little
don't take any
job.
no extra payload.
Yeah,
Well,
don't
not
leaving that
necessarily
screwdriver
but
in there.
Yeah, leaving leaving some FOD inside.
Yeah.
Was the issue.
Uh-huh.
That was our job, and we also would monitor like the there would be like a positive air pressure in the pump in 21% oxygen into the forward, the mid, and the aft while the guys were working in it. So it was us to make sure that was also being used, and they didn't shut off the airflow. So in case there was a potential leak of something, that they wouldn't asphyxiate while the guys were in the ship.
Did anything ever get left that you found out once they were in orbit? Like you missed something. There was a paper clip or something. It was like, hello, guys on the ground. You missed this one
Some
thing.
dirty rag.
Not that I know of. I mean, maybe that happened before I started, but not that I'm aware of.
Yeah. I have a bunch of pictures here, and we talked before the show about possibly just kind of doing like a walk down memory lane, and maybe some of these pictures will jog your memory of some stuff. Who's this gentleman right here?
Yeah, that's my dad. He also worked at, obviously, based on this picture, worked at the Space Center as well.
Yeah.
He worked in the HVAC group. He was, all the air conditioning, air handlers and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I think also had a role with pressurizing the pad and regarding like the rainbirds, working on the pad during launch and stuff like that.
Now, what might not be obvious,
OSB.
because I didn't get this just by looking at the picture, but you told me before that this is actually inside. Is it inside one of the shuttles? Or
Right, that is just right outside the space.
right
shuttle.
outside it.
So
Okay.
Yeah. You can see that. Yeah, the airlock there.
Is going going up into the shuttle right there. And this is
yeah,
so. What is
this
this room with all the autographs on it?
That's called the White Room.
Oh, it's actually up on the tower, right? Is that white room?
They had a white room inside the OPFs.
Oh, okay.
This is the OPFs.
Okay. Which
this was after they decommissioned the shuttle. It was getting ready to go into a museum. So
yeah.
So the cool thing is, right towards the very end, like this was a little bit before the time that my dad was going to get laid off. They let people go in and take some pictures inside the shuttle before.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
They closed the seal for the hatch for good. So it was kind of cool. I got to schedule this because it's basically on a lottery system type of thing, and we we both put in our time to do this particular event and at the same time. So both me and my dad got to hang out, which we normally didn't get to do at the Space Center, and got to hang out and get some cool pictures of us with the shuttle in the background.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Oh, and here's inside the cockpit.
Yeah, there's the.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like the way they took like the monitors out and then just stuck little copy photo paper
Yeah.
of the instrument panels in there because they took it was already all out.
Oh, right here. Oh, okay. I'm seeing
and the
that
background.
now. Wow. Well,
So that way it was just not just holes there as there people who took photos.
right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I wonder why they needed, why they had, because they left all the switches and stuff. Why did they have to take those monitors out? I mean, where else are they going to use them?
I don't know if they necessarily took them out. They just put something there so it wasn't just like a blank screen.
Oh, okay.
Is
Yeah.
that right?
Yeah, it would just be a big black spot in your picture.
Yeah.
The screens were like an LCD screen, so
Yeah.
I just
know
figured
if
it was
it's
like you see decommissioned airplanes
Mm-hmm.
and they just take
Just
every
gut
like
everything.
bit of electronics out of it.
oh yeah, because all that stuff's reusable. The stuff from the
Yeah.
shuttle's not going to be necessarily like reusable. It might be the same kind of thing, but it's graded, and the QA is at such a higher level that you wouldn't ever use it in anything else because you'd pay
So
so much money.
you mean to
for
tell
one
me
of
that there could be a chance we could do Armageddon again. I mean, it's ready to go. We just
Oh.
take them out of the museum and just put them
Please,
up.
please, 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 please.
Well, there is an asteroid passing by the Earth at closest approach. It'll be 3 million miles away. That's a long way away.
That's yeah. That's a
I
long
love
way
it. I
away.
love seeing
12
those.
times the distance of the sun.
I
Or
can't.
the moon.
I should start like keeping track, like how many times per year there's like articles that come out about this asteroid, this close approach asteroid is coming towards Earth, and it's like further away than the moon. Just for reference, a good number to keep in your head. Anytime when you're talking about near Earth asteroids, the moon is about 250,000 miles away, so 250,000 miles away. So if you hear that there is an asteroid that is beyond that or near that or half that distance, it's not really that close. Sometimes they'll be like, yeah, there's one that's passing closer than some satellites. Well, they're probably talking about geosynchronous satellites, and those are really high up there.
Yeah, those are like 30. Is it 45,000 miles out?
Something like that,
35,000 miles out, something like
30,
that.
I want to say it's 35, yeah, but I can't
Yeah.
remember for sure.
They're really far out.
So what is this?
Yeah, exactly like Klebby says. In a cosmic scale, that is actually very close.
True, but it's not like there's a possibility. When they know it's going to pass somewhere between like 100,000 miles away and 200,000 miles away, that means it's not going to even come close. Like it's going to drift by. Astronomers are going to get an opportunity to kind of look at it and take some measurements and stuff, and that's about it.
What I think is a positive thing we could say about this is that the fact that we are hearing that more often than we did, say, 10 years ago does show that we have discovered more of those things. True. Whereas we didn't even know about them 10 years ago, and now we've found a whole lot of them. I mean, we've found of the 1 kilometer or larger asteroids, especially the ones that would be a near Earth asteroid, we've found about 50% of those, and we need to find more, but we found about 50% of those, and that number may be higher.
Yeah, which it's hard to understand how they quantify that. Like, we know about half of what we don't know.
They use a mathematical model.
I know. Yeah, I know. And there's they have solar system models and stuff, but they have an idea of how many are out there. But this is how many we found. What is this? I want to guess. Are you climbing up into like towards where the cockpit would be, or like from one level to another?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool. It's just switches, man, everywhere. There's just switches all over the place.
And then you look at the new Crew Dragon; it's just 3 gigantic monitors,
right?
And a couple buttons.
Yeah, a few hard buttons. It's a very flattering picture.
It's like posing.
What does this say? Can I read it? Prior to entry, notify forward ECLSS Bay Mentor. Notify OIC. What? Something. Behave your shoes. I'm pretty sure that's what that says. Behave your shoes.
Maybe remove your shoes.
Line.
Remove your shoes. I don't know. Okay, so there's lots of rules before you get to go inside there. That's to be expected.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Under some landing gear here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Underneath the forward.
So anything in here that could be described? That I guess once again, here's the problem. You can't see my mouse, so I can't tell you what I'm like noticing. Pipes, lots of pipes.
Yeah, pipes and the tape, and it's just inside one of the OPFs, and we're just standing underneath the landing gear.
Now OPF, you've said that a couple times. I'm not sure you've said the expanded term. What is OPF?
OPF is Orbiter Processing Facility.
Okay, all right. I mean, space nerds are supposed to know that, but we do want to. I mean, I didn't know that off the top of my head, so I'm going to assume that there's other people that may not.
Welcome to my world.
It's the area where most of the work was done to process the the shuttle to get it ready for flight.
Right. The
Or they
pictures
would-
you see where like the shuttle's in the middle, and it's just got all this scaffolding and pipes and
Yeah.
tubes all around it.
Replacing all those nice thermal protection tiles.
Exactly.
You didn't have to replace them all, right? Like some of them stayed on there. It's just like what if they were chipped or something?
Yeah, they could even repair some of the damage while it was still installed. I wasn't involved in that kind of repairs, but yeah.
You were there to make sure that the repairs were done right.
Well, when I was a quality inspector, I worked in the TPSF, which is the Thermal Protection Processing Facility, and we actually made the tiles and the thermal blankets and gap fillers and stuff. We would get an order for what was to be replaced, and we would make it to
Fabricate them.
fabricate it, and then they would do fit checks and stuff like that, and then it would be installed onto the orbiter.
Wasn't there? I don't know what year, but the EPA got on about whatever type of glue that their adhesive they used, and they had to change it, and then they didn't stick as well. I thought there
like
was
in early in the early development days, it was like they had a hard time keeping the tiles on there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, as I recall for that, yeah, that was definitely way before my time. But prior to that, they didn't waterproof the thermal tiles, as I recall. What's that material that it's basically like a Scotch guard type thing, as I recall.
They just
or I guess
sprayed
it kinda
Scotch guard
worked
and
like that
everything.
so it would, yeah. I guess the tiles would, because they're mainly like this empty ceramic. They're pretty absorbent, so obviously they probably didn't get much moisture while it was in the OPFs, but if it's sitting on a launch pad,
and it's Florida and it rains.
in Florida, not even just the rain, but the humidity,
Moisture, yeah.
it would, those tiles were basically like sponges. So unless they were waterproofed.
I've got a video, and I'm pretty sure it's the one I was looking for, where they are demonstrating how cool these tiles are. Wait, how many degrees?
100 degrees per hour. Now, these have been in there at 2,200 degrees.
2,200 degrees.
So you'll see they're blazing hot. Now, most things
I know those guys.
You do?
Frozen pizza in,
That's Tim Wright
it would
and
disintegrate
Judy
after
Brothers.
a couple minutes. Well, these things have been in there hours. If you put it in metal, it may, if the metal did not melt, at least it would conduct the heat and keep the heat for so long that you couldn't get near it, within hours. Well, look at that.
This is crazy. He just picks it up with his bare hands. It's just glowing.
Oh my
red.
God.
Yeah, you can actually pick these up while they're glowing, molten in the middle. How hot are they? Well, they were in the oven at 2,200 degrees.
So now he said molten in the middle. Like they're actually molten in the middle? Like melted, or is he just kind of using that to describe how hot it is?
Yeah, I think it's more of just a poetic description.
Okay.
I don't know if it necessarily is molten,
And also,
but I mean, or maybe just in theoretical terms, how hot it is.
yeah.
But yeah,
It's like lava hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And granted, he is just touching it by the corners, which you can see are just a little. It's blacker than.
I was going to ask
So
you that.
it's
Like,
still
it has to be
hot,
at the corners,
but not
right?
2,200 degrees hot.
Right. Yeah, because the corners, I guess, dissipate that heat a little bit quicker. But if he was to touch it like in the middle of one of the sides, then that'd be bad news.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So what is that made of that they can just touch it? Like what's on it?
It's ceramic, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's
aerated
just like
ceramic?
this ceramic silica type. I mean, I don't recall what the formula is, and I probably am not even allowed to say it if I did.
Tell us now!
How do we make
yeah.
it?
They just had different types of billets and that went to different areas, like Li 900 and which is what they call that kind of material.
Yeah.
Which I think was the standard tile. Like most of the tiles on the shuttle were Li 900.
Now these blocks are white, but I remember the tiles being black. So what's going on there?
Yeah, there was they painted the tiles black. And
Oh,
again,
they
that
just
was to help. Yeah, they would use like a spray paint type of application, and then they would cook it like in the oven, which would also clean it if there was any impurities.
Mhm.
But then it would basically glaze, you know, that the tile to be black, like you maybe had an art class where you painted something and then you fired it and it just became like this glass cover.
Yeah.
You know,
Would they do it all around or just on the side that's
It-
visible that's going to get the heat?
it was just the top and then part of the sides.
Hmm.
It varied between tiles, but how far down the ceramic was supposed to go, just maybe based on, obviously when it's coming in for reentry, there's certain areas that got hotter than others.
Mhm.
So that would depend on, I guess obviously doing those type of calculations would determine which type of billet material they would use and what type of coating.
So
And
not all thermal tiles are created equal. They're different depending on where it's at on the shuttle.
And of course, and again, like all the underbelly was the black tiles, but there was white tiles that were also in certain areas, and then there was also to save on weight and to make it easier, instead of having like these little 6x6 tiles all over the place, they would put these larger thermal blankets that were based also some kind of silica material that would take up bigger areas and just an easier method to replace.
I remember the first time I came to Florida. I'm from Tennessee. Bekah's also from Tennessee. The first time I ever came down here on vacation, of course, I had to visit Kennedy Space Center, and that in Atlantis, that was the first time I'd ever seen a shuttle in person. Well, sort of, because I did live in Lakeland when I was real young, like in kindergarten, and I remember going outside and seeing a shuttle go up. But from Lakeland, it just looks, so that didn't count to me. It was too tiny, too far away. But the first time I saw the shuttle, I was surprised, because when you see pictures and you see it launching stuff, you kind of think of it as like this metal thing, but when you get up close to it, it looks more like cloth on the outside.
Yeah.
Klebby had a question. Which area got the hottest?
Yeah, I guess it was probably more the forward underbelly.
Like the nose, or would it be like in the wing, like in the armpit of the wing, maybe?
That and like the leading edge, and in fact on the leading edge and stuff, they used reinforced carbon RCC, and I guess that was a stronger, more durable, and more heat resistant. I never worked on the RCC panels, so I couldn't tell you too much about them.
Now, so you have to explain to us why they say carbon. Why can't they just say it once? That's such a dumb question.
I was going to say it. You're right.
It's like a chemistry thing, right? Like it means something
I
to
would
chemists.
assume, yeah. It's not just carbon. It's
Carbon.
carbon.
It's new
Now with
carbon.
more carbon.
It's like when I've like a while back, I was watching some space documentary. Probably, I think it was like a Brian Cox, like Wonders of the Universe or something, and he was talking about like acceleration, and he kept using the term, however many seconds per second. I was like, why are you saying it like that? And eventually I realized it's a measure of acceleration. How fast are you accelerating per second? Like, let's say you're should I draw a diagram? No.
Yes.
Like, let's say, you're going 0 to 60 and it takes you 3 seconds to go 0 to 60. So you're accelerating at 20 miles per hour per second. But like in space, we usually use terms like, however many kilometers or miles per second. So how fast are you accelerating? It's how many, like 10 meters per second. So each second you're going 10 meters per second faster than you were the second before.
Accelerate.
Yeah.
Carbon.
Carbon,
Why don't they say
carbon.
double carbon? Double carbon.
I
sounds
figured
cooler.
out why it's reinforced carbon.
Yes.
Yes,
Tell
right.
us.
So it is a carbon fiber netting that is actually reinforcing carbon.
Okay.
So, like on a submarine, we have the nose cone is made out of what's called GRP, glass reinforced plastic.
All right.
So it's just the way they say that this piece of carbon has been reinforced with a carbon net.
Mm-hmm.
Carbon.
Yeah, of course.
Carbon.
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 All right.
I was
The
like,
more you know.
one of my favorite short stints that Brent did was it? It's basically scaring away birds. from the
Oh,
pad.
right. Yeah.
I didn't know there was
How
a
did
job
that
for
work?
that.
Fireworks, shotgun, what was it?
As I recall, it was like just air horns, and we had these big, like beach balls that had like an owl's face on them, and that the idea, and I think, as I recall, the owl's eyes had like that reflective, like 3D, where it looks like it's moving.
Uh-huh.
So, as I recall, I could be wrong about that. So it looked like the eyes were moving or something.
Yeah, I think
That would scare anybody.
A beach ball, weird shaped
Beach
owl.
ball with eyes. Yeah, heck yeah.
That is awesome.
So
I think I've seen pictures of those.
you may have. They used that because I think in the mid '90s or whatever, a woodpecker got on the external tank and was doing what woodpeckers do, thinking that this giant orange tank had some bugs in it, and created a bunch of little holes. And of course, we would learn later that having pieces of the external tank fall off could be disastrous for sure.
Right.
But prior to that, I think they had to roll back the shuttle and stuff to reinspect the external tank.
Oh, man. That's a dead woodpecker right there.
Yeah. Yeah, because of these woodpeckers. So
I wonder how
so
much
then
of
they
a delay
implemented-
that caused. Just a little woodpecker getting up there.
How long did it take to get from the pad to the?
Well, yeah, that's an
Yeah,
all-day
you
affair,
usually got-
right?
Yeah, you got that plus inspecting it and then rolling it back out again.
Yeah,
A
actually,
week later.
the dollar figures were up there in the millions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. They're
All said and done.
not only just running that just because of a woodpecker.
And all the people, everyone that's involved with that.
I actually just recently saw a picture of that. It was a lady who was sitting on a lawn chair, and she was right beside the shuttle with an air horn, and that's exactly what she was doing. Which anytime she saw a woodpecker coming onto the tank, she would blow the air horn.
They should have had like deployable spikes on the fuel tank. Chink.
Like that with like, oh jeez.
Nowadays, you'd be thinking laser tracking system.
Yeah.
It'd be like that wall in Demolition Man where the spikes would shoot out.
Demolition
I don't
Man.
know if
I've seen that movie a million times. With the
That was to remove graffiti.
Yeah, but the spikes then end up taking somebody out too.
Right.
Oh yeah, at one point I remember that.
Yeah. Let's see some more photos here. This is it's out. Whenever I first saw this photo, I was like, "Oh yeah, at the Kennedy Space Center." No. This is the real deal right here.
That's the real one.
This is up on the pad.
So yeah. Again, towards the very end of the program, they allowed people to, I guess, get some really good pictures up close. Because before, like one of the jobs when I was an access control monitor is make sure people didn't bring stuff that could potentially be FOD, like cameras and stuff like that. If how cameras could potentially fall apart.
Right.
So towards the end, they finally let people get some good pictures, and so prior to this, I didn't have many pictures of some of the cool things I got to see and do because it was forbidden. But during this time, I was allowed to get some last minute photos before. I'm thinking this was STS-135, but I could be. Nah, that was it's probably a couple flights before that. But yeah.
Also, in case anybody's wondering, FOD is foreign object debris.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. And it's also called. They also say it foreign object damage, but damage debris is
okay.
Okay.
What in the world is this?
This is the aft compartment. This is again when my dad and I got to tour the OPFs and finally get some pictures. They had taken out the SSMEs, which is the space shuttle main engines, and just got a couple pictures of what it looks like inside.
Do what?
I'm sorry.
So the engine was bolted in there.
Yep, that's where the engine was.
Nice.
They had three main engines, and that's where they went.
There they go.
Or one of them, anyway.
Man, and you stand in there, and that's like, man, those engines, the big ones.
Yeah, they were.
Let's see. So this.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's on a launch pad. Yeah, that's just on the launch pad, getting ready for launch. And again, although I think there were different days, but I happen to be wearing the same shirt. But,
just a big fan of Quicksilver. I understand.
Yeah, it was big in those days.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
There's some tiles.
Yeah, I thought this was kind of neat. Now this is the top of a wing, right?
Yeah, yep. It's the leading edge.
Okay,
Yeah,
so this is you can definitely see
reinforced carbon.
That's what. Well, you can't see my mouse again, but in chat they can. So the leading edge, like the bigger pieces, that's the carbon, or that's this. Okay, so so that's definitely, you can really tell a difference. And then right behind you is that's the fabric, like the blankets.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's what Gene worked on, was the blankets.
Yeah, we're talking about Gene. You know, Gene is somebody that if you've ever spent any time in port, like that's where I met her. Like the first time I ever heard her talking, you know, it sounded like she knew something. I'm like, who is this? And then someone told me like she's one of the Sew sisters.
Yep. Yeah. She was a seamstress for the thermal blankets, and she's also you'll see her as a docent in the I believe she does that on the weekends, or at least back when the Kennedy Space Visitor Complex was open anyway. Now that this COVID thing that thing shut down, but she was one of the docents that you probably run into in the Atlantis facility.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she usually has some props with her of some to demonstrate what the material looked like and felt like.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to do that because I've never held a thermal tile or blanket or anything. I want to do that. This is towards the top of the launch pad, obviously right next to the
that's
tank.
actually, I'm on top of on top of the RSS.
Rotating service.
Rotating service structure.
Right.
In fact, what's really cool about this photo, this is a STS-135, and they were rolling it back for the final time. And I, along with like 8 or 10 other people, were on top of the RSS at the time, and I don't know. That's probably one of the coolest things I got to witness.
I would say, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Some of us have
been
an
awesome view up there.
We've been at the base of the pads, but to be on top of that tower would be like a religious experience.
Right, dear Santa.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, and that rotating service structure is no longer there, people. Like, you can't even, even if you were allowed, you couldn't even do this right now, because that is not there anymore. Oh, the business end.
Yeah, I'm in the flame trench.
That is a sexy picture.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
It's that Quicksilver shirt again.
Yeah, I know, right?
Of course.
Oh, that is awesome.
That's a real,
That is so cool.
So yeah, I only shared the one photo, but I took a bunch while it was being while the RSS was being rolled back. And what was cool about it is, I had this camera in my hand, and I'm leaning over the structure to take these photos. Like some of the last photos ever. This type of
this view, yeah,
event.
for sure, yeah.
And I got it okayed, but with the safety guy who was there. But I'm almost kind of like shaking as I'm taking these photos, because I'm just thinking, if the lens just decided to fall apart, like I didn't have something, and
locked
the camera
in or
just
something,
falls out of my hand, even though I had the strap behind my neck and everything. But I'm just thinking, like, oh my God, if this thing just fell apart, just one part, and it fell and hit a tile of this shuttle, then they're gonna have to roll it back. They're gonna have to,
You're like, Brent, we're deducting that from your pay.
Yeah.
Forever.
Local buffoon.
Oh man.
Front page of the Florida Today. Camera causes $1 million worth of damage. Something like that. I was So yeah, I was
Oh,
a
yeah.
little sweating when I took this photo, and I didn't have to. It just was like, man, I gotta take
You
photos.
got
of this.
to.
Like, oh my god, what am I doing?
Absolutely.
This could be a big mistake. I could,
Yeah, you'd be
I don't know.
kicking yourself you didn't get a shot like that.
Yeah.
So when you were up on the RSS, they were actually rolling the shuttle in. Someone was asking in chat. You were just like watching it,
No,
or it was already done.
it was getting ready for launch. So
Oh, it was
The
already.
shuttle was in
the
place.
payload is already
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, maybe
shuttle-
just for listeners that don't already know about the rotating service structure, kind of what was that? Like they roll the shuttle up to the pad, the rotating service structure encapsulates it, right? And yeah take it away.
And that's when they would then open when the structure was encapsulating the shuttle.
I'll find a picture of it.
They would then open up the payload bay doors and then do whatever extra work they had to do, or for the most part, that's when they would install the payload. Would be at that time.
Here, okay. All right, so here's a picture. So this is the rotating service structure open. I need to try to maybe find one
open,
where it's closed. So this, I know you guys can't see my cursor, but on the stream they can. This part right here would snug right up to the payload doors here.
Yeah.
But they can open the payload doors with the rotating service structure like rotated towards the orbiter, right?
Yeah.
And load things in there or something if they have to.
They wouldn't move the shuttle with $1 billion satellite inside of it. Like that's
but like
much risk for that $1 billion worth of satellite or whatever.
But like, were there any late load payloads that would go into the payload bay, or maybe all that went inside? Because I know they would take cargo and stuff, and I know just from following the cargo missions at space station, sometimes there's things that have to go in at the last minute. So I wonder if anything in the payload bay was ever like that, or if that was just satellites, nothing else.
I
don't know.
I mean, I don't know what all. Again, I wasn't directly involved in
I mean,
that kind of stuff, but yeah, as from my understanding, that's when they would load the satellites, and for the most part, I think they would do some of it in the high bays. It just depended on the mission and whatnot. But
I could see like parts of the space station you could load in there and be fine. It's not as and then roll it out, but like satellites maybe more a little
space
delicate.
station parts. When they used was it a Space Lab, the German capsule that was like the lab that was in the payload bay, that would be installed while it was actually horizontal, but they did vertical integration for a whole lot of stuff.
I'm trying to find one. Like there's several pictures that show it like
Not many
rotated.
closed.
Yeah, where it's rotated towards the shuttle.
It's like on its way.
This one, yeah, it's close, but it's not. But you can kind of get an idea. So yeah, I mean, rotating service structure kind of it means what you think it means. It rotates, and that was a piece of hardware that SpaceX removed whenever they took over the pad. It took them a while, but they did eventually get it off of there.
so yeah, it was kind of like on a track too that would move it in and out of place.
Right.
You kind of see in that picture there, there's two big legs or whatever that would
down
roll it.
Right. Let's see.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay, and is this also from the rotating service structure? I don't know. There's the white room right there.
Yeah, that may have been just the pad on top of the launch pad.
Man, this is
a cloudy day.
I'm so jealous, dude. This is just awesome. Oh yeah, and there's Tom Servonaut. Yeah, so tell us about that.
So I'm a big fan of the show Mystery Science Theater 3000, and if you guys haven't seen it or not familiar with it, it's a show about a guy was sent into outer space by two mad scientists and forced to watch some of the worst movies ever made to drive him insane. And the idea was he would release that movie upon the world and kind of take over the world by that means. But to keep his sanity, the guy that was stuck up in space made 2 robots, one named Tom Servo and one named Crow T Robot, and they would make fun of the movie and then make that movie worth watchable, and you were just kind of part of that experiment, watching them basically riff these TV shows and movies and stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, why not combine two of my favorite things, Mystery Science Theater and manned space flight. And I made a little crossover. This guy named Tom Servonaut, who's a crossover between the NASA Robonaut and Tom Servo, because I figured that there's people really up in space on the International Space Station, and instead of having the robot do remedial tasks, maybe the ISS crew could have a movie riffing buddy.
I need to get that thing up there one day and have a picture of the ISS.
Yeah.
Next to the other robot.
Get one of the astronauts to take it like as their personal thing, because they're allowed to bring a few personal items and be like, hey, take this. Come on.
Talk to Tom Cruise about it. Maybe he'll take it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Tom Cruise can take it with him.
Tom Cruise and Tom Servonaut. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Tom and Tom.
Chris Hadfield took his guitar, and this looks no bigger than a guitar. So I think they could totally take it.
What's cool is I also have astronaut Bob Cabana. I had him autographed it at that event that I went. It was like a Halloween event that they had at the Space Center, and which was how I was able to bring in such an object into the Space Center, because I don't think I could bring that through regular general admission.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, what is it? Why are you carrying this around?
Special event. I thought, maybe I'll make this before the event, and sure enough, I thought I'd get some cool pictures of my little Tom Servonaut with Space Shuttle Atlantis in the background.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And before we started the stream, we were talking about Mystery Science Theater, and we were talking about Mac and Me.
Mac and Me.
The best alien movie of all time.
And they riff it.
Yeah, it's in there somewhere.
E.T., eat your heart out.
Alien, yeah.
Yeah, right. Come on. Sigourney Weaver, get out of here. Yeah, I'm definitely going to watch that. Like we were saying before, like I haven't watched Mystery Science Theater since I was a kid, and it would just pop up, and I didn't know what it was, and and I was a stupid kid. I didn't, it was terrible movies, and I think I didn't get it, but now that I know that Mac and Me is on there, I'm totally going to watch it. It's on Netflix, you said, right?
Yep.
Hey,
there's a bunch of episodes. I recommend Cry Wilderness, which is a Bigfoot movie that befriends a kid and talks to him, and he has a magical amulet. It makes absolutely no sense.
Spoiler alert.
Bigfoot. All right. I'm in.
Wait, did they do Harry and the Hendersons? That would be epic.
That movie's too
would be
good.
epic,
Yeah.
But again, this is Cry Wilderness. It's better in many ways and worse in a lot.
They usually don't get the big budget movies.
Yeah. I think Harry and the Hendersons is a little too popular.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty to make fun of it, but I don't think they're gonna get the pay the monies for that.
No.
Since we're
they also
go ahead.
a movie called Star Force.
Oh yeah,
I think is what it's
Oh,
called.
the David Hasselhoff one.
Yeah, it's David Hasselhoff is in it, and it's a Star Wars knockoff with a cowboy cowboy robot. It's again really, really terrible, but really, really good at the same time. You got to watch it.
I've been kind of wanting to ask. I don't know why it's never come up. I don't think it has. What's everybody's favorite space movie, or a couple favorite space movies? I'll go.
Oh God.
Yeah. Right. Dang. Something like that.
And I'm sorry to call you out, Bekah, but Bekah just saw Independence Day for the first time in the last week.
Yes.
Which is one that is
If
definitely.
it wasn't for my David,
none of you would be here. What a line! What a line to quote.
My favorite line, him yelling about his kid.
Clubby says Interstellar. Physics
Interstellar.
amazing.
Yeah. Interstellar. It blew my mind. I need to watch it again because I was just like, huh? It's been explained to me since, but yeah.
I was gonna say
seen
for me,
the movie
Go ahead.
Brent,
Brent.
go.
Have you guys seen have you guys seen the movie Europa Report?
I love Europa Report. I was
Yeah,
going to
me
call
too.
that one out.
So,
That I was going to just for it's it's a B sci-fi movie, but is an excellent movie for being a B movie.
yeah. We actually watched The Core recently, which I feel like is probably rated as a B movie, even though it's got kind of some bigger actors in it. But I kind of dig it. The one thing in the
We gotta restart the core.
we gotta jumpstart the planet. One of the things that stood out to me, I was trying real hard to not, or I try to. It's sometimes very difficult, but when I'm watching a movie that has space stuff in it, I try to keep my mouth shut about like things that aren't real, that wouldn't work.
Do you?
I try. There's an attempt in there. You understand there is an attempt. But when they were flipping the space shuttle, like in the beginning of the movie, you know, the astronauts are coming back and then they ultimately end up landing in the LA River or whatever. The shuttle never flipped that fast. In fact, it would be a waste of fuel because you would have to use an excess amount of fuel to get it rotating that quickly, and then you'd have to use the same amount of fuel to get it to stop. So that was my beef with that movie. But that's my only beef. I mean, everything else was completely realistic on the core.
I'd say for me is Apollo 13.
Yeah.
Just
Apollo 13, great flick.
They actually filmed in the vomit comet, so it looked realistic.
Yep.
Because they were sort of zero G.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, for 30 seconds at a time or whatever it is. Yeah.
Just imagine like up and down for days on days to film all that stuff. You gotta have a strong stomach.
Hey, what's up, Space Padre? Gene over here. He's in the chat.
Yep.
He said he just stopped by to say hi. I don't know if there's no Starship stuff happening tonight. I saw them rolling that Raptor back. But give you guys a break, I guess. I actually have like some videos pulled up to talk about Starship, but yeah, they did do that static fire again last night. They've done now 2. So
they did again.
Yeah, they did another one last night. The NASA spaceflight stream, something happened. They had to scrub the stream. They said, but Everyday Astronaut was rolling, and they did another static fire last night. What were we talking about? Space movies. Name it.
Another favorite of mine is Space Cowboys.
Okay.
Yeah,
That movie is great too.
I love that one. Yes.
And what's extra cool about that is right when the guys are getting on the Astrovan, they have like a camera crew filming all, them doing this, getting ready for a liftoff.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad was one of the fake cameramen
Nice.
as their, as Tom Hanks what's his name?
Sorry. It's Jim Lovell.
No.
Oh, you're talking about Space Cowboys.
Space Cowboys.
Sorry.
Space Cowboys. It was dude.
I can picture his face, but I can't.
I don't care. From The Fugitive.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah. When Tommy Lee Jones gets on in the Astrovan, he bumps his head, and that's like the funny gag. I guess my dad was there again, fake recording this, and they had to do that take. I forget, like a half dozen times or whatever. Of course, he keeps hitting his head for real to get that shot, and I'm sure that wasn't a fun experience for old Tommy Lee.
What about Fire in the Sky? Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good one. That was the scariest movie I ever watched when I was like 10.
Yeah.
Love that movie, man. The alien jelly.
Oh man. It's so scary. Like, and it's such a slow build up to an excellent payoff.
That's a good slow burn. I like it.
It's hard to that's one that, anybody, if I ever know anybody that's never seen it, I make them watch it at some point. But it has to be, you got to be awake because it is such a slow build.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys ever looked into the true story, or supposedly true story of the Travis Walton
Yeah, I read
story?
that book.
Oh, you read the actual book?
Yeah.
I've not read the book. I've been on his website and like kind of read, some things and stuff. And I mean, I'm a skeptic through and through. you know, so it's hard for me to know for sure if it actually happened the way that they portrayed it and he portrayed it. But it's definitely interesting.
It is very interesting. I think my favorite space movie has to be The Martian, and I know someone in chat had called that out.
Yeah.
Martian's a good one too.
Yeah, Martian actually is really good. And well, Martian and Apollo 13 are two movies that, well, Apollo 13, they're kind of different because, you know, one really happened and one didn't, but they're true to the science and the story as much as possible. I mean, you know, Andy Weir, he admits that he took some creative license, and so does Ron Howard, says, you know, and I always point out the scene when they get in kind of a little fight inside the capsule that didn't happen. All three, I think I've heard all three of those astronauts talk about the movie and say, well, that part didn't happen. Like, we never actually got into a fight up there because it would have accomplished nothing. And they're professionals. Yeah. Yeah, right here. Yeah, I want to, yeah. Yeah, look at these, this stand-up right here.
You know, we're talking about the best space movies and nobody's brought up Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century.
Wow, never seen it. Or heard of it.
What's that
No,
about?
I think it's a Disney Channel original. It's great though. I think my favorite's probably Serenity. And it's not
that one's good.
Nobody's watched it, really?
I've not. I don't think. Wait,
Serenity is the follow-up to Firefly.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's a good one.
Yeah, and Event Horizon is good too.
Yeah, in Event Horizon. Yep.
That's the scariest movie I ever saw when I was a kid. There's one scene in it that I just can't ever get out of my head.
Earth to Echo is really good too.
Spaceballs.
Was Serenity last year? This is 2019 film.
No, that was
so
the Matthew McConaughey. It's a bad one.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, Serenity. Just put Serenity Firefly. I'm sure it'll come up.
Now I'm a
really
bad
liked,
space fan because I've only seen very little of Firefly, like random episodes here or there.
What about Gravity?
I was just gonna say that's what I was about to say.
Gravity's a good movie, but I can't, like, every time I watch it, I'm like, holy crap, and I can't unsee the stuff that, like, Neil Tyson was talking about, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah, George Clooney definitely did not have to die. My first viewing of that in the theater, I was super excited about it, and I'm just thinking, like, it's not, space isn't just constantly pulling you away. Like, he came to a stop. And you know, he was at the end of the tether, and she stopped, and he stopped. All she had to do was pull it a little bit. She didn't have to put too much force, just a little bit of a tug, and he would start drifting back towards her.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
But it's beautiful. It is a beautiful movie, and the fear, like that when she gets knocked off of the arm, and she's out there on her own, and they do such a good job with the music, the wow, you know, and it like gets inside of her helmet, you know, and just how scary would that be? I mean, that's like the most terrifying thing. And luckily that nothing like that's ever happened. Even like I can't remember which astronaut it was, or if it might have even been multiple, but that actually went untethered in the little jetpack thing that they built.
Yeah, he just recently passed away.
What was his name?
McCandless?
Yeah. I mean, you've got that picture. Well, since we know his name, Bruce.
Yeah, he just
McCandless.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I think this year he passed away. Or no, last year. I'm sorry, last year I think he passed away.
Let's see. Floating? I'll say floating. Images.
Yeah, that's an iconic picture.
Yeah, right here. Like, it's just, he's so far, and it's for me, I think I'd be freaking out.
Freaking terrified.
Yeah, because, you know, as far away as he is, he's looking at his untethered self, and there's the space shuttle.
And there's nothing else to go to.
There's nothing. And there's no, I mean, if your jetpack fails, there's no way, you can't swim.
Yeah, you can't just wave your arm. Come on.
No, you're dead. You're done.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah,
they'd have to send another astronaut out with long tether and float out and grab them, I guess.
That's true. If they had two of them, I don't know.
I'm not sure if they did.
Yeah, I don't know if they had two of them.
And Harry points out he was out there for hours. Like he didn't just like go out there and sit out there for like 5 minutes and come back. He was out there for a while.
Now,
Pretty confident in that thing.
I suppose they, if let's say the jetpack died, I suppose that they could maneuver the shuttle closer to him instead.
Yeah.
What if there could be like a backup jetpack situation where it's just like a little handheld thing? Is there anything you could hold in your hand that would
small fire extinguisher
push out enough?
They stopped using those in the 70s. They used to have them.
Like, well, I mean,
the first spacewalkers used a jet air gun to maneuver themselves.
Yeah, actually, it's a really interesting picture. What would I give me a Google term? Let's see.
I think it was during Gemini, but I could be wrong.
Air gun mover.
Gemini. No, let's see. How do you spell Gemini?
There's an I.
Gemini EVA. Here we go.
Gemini, or as Neil calls it, Jiminy.
Jiminy, yeah. They all call it that. He's here we go. He's got it right here.
There you go. And you can see the little gun.
It's a tiny image, damn it.
Oh, that was sexy. The one that says Jiminy 4 there, with the Wikipedia one.
This one? Right.
I can't see your arrow.
Oh, this one.
Yeah, that one right there. That's what's in his hand. Is the little jet gun.
Yeah. It's just like a gun with a couple of tanks and then these tubes that shoot out and have the little thrusters or whatever at the end. And you get well, it's we've all seen Gravity. We've seen Sandra Bullock.
No, we haven't.
Oh, have we not? All right. Well, I own it on Prime.
Tell us more about the tubes.
The tubes.
Harry said that a SAFR, a simplified aid for EVA rescue,
that's what it's called.
Yeah. Oh, so it's what Harry's saying.
Well, let me just copy his text. That'd be probably easier. Oh, safer. The safer.
Oh.
Okay.
I'll learn how to read.
And let me just Google that and paste. And
Stephanie's in the chat, and I knew she'd have my back on Xenon. Thank you.
On Xenon.
Rock on.
What do we see here?
I saw like a drawing diagram or something.
This
now, even using that safer device, like Ed White lost 40 pounds on that spacewalk. He was exhausted when he got back into the capsule. Like he almost died out there, even using the little air gun, because they didn't have any like understanding of exactly what would happen with this thing in space. They thought it would be, and now I'm going. It was very difficult to use in the early days.
Yeah, they had a hard time until Buzz got involved, and because he had some scuba diving experience, and he treated it a lot more like scuba diving and helped everybody out. Really,
the reason they use pools, by the way, for their training.
Right. Okay, let's see. Let's go ahead and. Oh yeah, we're an hour deep. Let's get into. I wanted to show another video. Which one was it? Where did I put them? Here we go. Cosmic Perspective. It's Ryan Chilinsky and Mary Liz Bender. They're just incredible people, and I love everything that they do. And this video that it's just a quick 28-second video. The things that they put out are just super inspirational, and I thought this would be interesting to play.
When we first started, this program was just PowerPoint charts, and now we got a vehicle out on the pad.
So we are within 3 weeks now. We've been talking about shuttle.
Yay.
It has been it's been devastating to not be able to ever, like, I never saw any shuttle launches. I've never seen, humans launch. And so I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and a lot of people have been. And we are within 3 weeks of the primary launch day. Of course, we're launching humans. If there's any hiccups, they'll obviously scrub. One thing we learned last week is that the backup day is not the next day. It's the 30th. So if they don't go the 27th, the backup day is the 30th. Another thing that I learned, I don't know if anybody else knew this prior to, there was like a whole string of press briefings that they did online. One of the things that I learned was the limitation on the length of the mission. There's a couple things. One is they would like to have them up there until about a month before the crew flight 1 is ready to go. So they got time to come back, go over all the data, make sure everything turned out good, because don't forget that this is still considered a test. But they want to leave Bob and Doug up there on the space station a little longer so they can help Chris Cassidy, who's up there now. Am I right? Is it Chris Cassidy that's there right now? They want to help him maybe, get a few tasks done. Let's see, Bob is going to be going out on an EVA. So he's gonna leave the space station, go do some spacewalking. So that
will be his 7th EVA.
Really, and and he probably was not sure he was ever going to get to have that opportunity again.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there was. I think in one of those press briefings, I think they both expressed that after their last shuttle flight, there was no guarantee that they would fly again. But then every pilot would jump on the opportunity to fly a spacecraft for the first time, to be the first to fly any craft at all. Any pilot's going to jump on that.
Yeah, absolutely. And they were both test pilots. So.
Right. So yeah, this is definitely something that, is right up their alley. But so they want to bring him back about a month before the Crew 1 flight is ready. But there is a limitation on length of 119 days. And the only thing that's really holding them back, everything else on the Dragon is fine to go for a longer duration, but the solar panels that are on this specific Dragon are only rated to go about 119 days. And that doesn't say anything about future missions, because this mission, when they were putting this Dragon together specifically, was only intended to be a short duration, like a week or two.
Yeah, they were supposed to be up there for a week in the initial planning phases.
Right. So the impression that I got was that they have other solar panels that are rated for longer, but they didn't use, because I'm sure they're more expensive. If they're rated for longer in space, I have to assume that they're more expensive. So let's go with the cheaper ones that are good, but they don't go as long. So future missions, they'll be fine for these 6-month stays, I'm sure. I haven't heard anything specifically about how long those will go. But that was interesting to me that, 119 days is as long as that these specific solar panels are rated for. Oh, I should have had Oh, and also on that same day, that was last Friday, by the way. That was the day after last week's show that they did all those press briefings. And one of the things that was mentioned was that they were going to be doing their final parachute test. And that's their 27th. I remember back in October when they're like, yeah, we've done a couple with the new Mark III. We're going to try to do a few more. We're going to do at least 10, I think is what they were saying at the time. But they've now accomplished 27 parachute tests with the new upgraded Mark III parachutes. They're supposed to be super awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, so that's done. Let's see. I like this picture that Bob Benkin posted, or these pictures. It looks like some young dudes there, don't they? Mm-hmm. This is a while back. Oh, that's only 2015. It's only 5 years ago. 2017? Oh man, he looks so. Sorry, Bob. I thought this was from long ago. Yeah. And then them sitting inside Crew Dragon, and this is them walking out the crew access arm. They've already done a dress rehearsal. I think we've talked about that on the show already. They've done where they actually walked out the famous doors that every astronaut has walked out of and gotten into the vehicle that drives them out to the pad. They went all the way up the tower and out to the end of the crew access arm. The only thing they didn't do was actually get in. As far as I know, I don't think they actually got in. Yeah.
Is it weird to me that it looks like they had like the shirt undone, like untucked?
Untucked? Yeah, that is kind of weird.
Is where it's zipped together or something right there? It's
Yeah,
like
that's
two
where it
pieces?
zips together.
Yeah. I mean, they're still
They
cool
look
looking.
so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, they're cool looking spacesuits. They're, I mean, when we first saw them, it was on like a super slim mannequin, and it was like super sleek and and fit. Yeah, it's a little different when you put it on a person, but they are still pretty slick.
Everyone's different shapes and sizes.
That's right.
We don't judge here, dude.
No, we don't. Oh, you know what? I should have.
There's one still getting. Well,
oversized.
there's still one up there getting battered in space somewhere.
I should pull up.
That's
The.
Don't panic.
Where can I find it? Next Horizons. The picture of the next crew that's going up. 'Cause
Yeah.
I know we posted those photos on Next Horizons too. So let's see how far down. Oh yeah, here we go. This is the photo that's kind of gotten some chatter going on. Why is his helmet black?
Wow.
I think it's because he's a JAXA taikonaut and not an astronaut.
You think do you think that that's what they'll do? Is like the NASA astronauts will have the white and then everyone else will have the black?
I'm not sure. That's just my guess.
Or maybe they just get a choice.
Yeah, it's like black or white.
Yeah, perhaps they do get a choice, and he's just like renegade. Yeah, I like the black.
Yeah.
Well, another reason too is because I guess they view white as a color of death and unlucky. So I've also seen that's another reason why he's wearing the black helmet, because white is considered unlucky in their culture. Yes. So that's another possibility of why he has the black helmet. Again, we don't know. I'm right there with Matt, with him being the JAXA astronaut. I've asked. There's still no answer. So
it might delineate between pilot and commander and
payload
specialist.
specialist. Yeah.
Like any kind of industrial environment where there's hard hats, every different department has a different colored hard hat.
Yeah,
Right.
that could be.
right, and then I also heard something about it being it's just a training helmet, and I'm like, no, it's too cool to be a training helmet.
This has to be permanent. I want this to be the real thing.
It has to be
I
real.
agree with Harry here. He says all matte black suit.
Yeah, that's what they need.
No, they can't do that. That would just be too sexy.
Yeah.
They just want to be able to do it.
Do that with the gray, where the gray is now, the extra panels. Yeah,
Yeah, man. Oh,
that'd be hot.
yep.
Yeah, so crew launch May 27th. One thing to keep in mind is NASA is going to be providing 24-hour coverage of this starting 4 hours prior to launch. So at like noon-ish, they're going to start streaming on NASA TV, and they're going to stay live all the way through docking at the space station.
That's gonna be cool.
Yeah. And somebody remind me how long this rendezvous docking is going to be from launch. Does anybody remember for sure?
I had that info when I was writing the article.
It's less than a day, right? I want to say it's like
16 hours, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. 16. I want to say I was going to say 19, but I don't know.
Timeline. Hold on.
Come on, get it, Jordan. Get it, Jordan.
I'm doing what I do, man.
He's getting it.
Oh, come on. You failed me.
Use the force, man.
I'm not using the force on this one.
It's
They don't
less
have
than a
mission
day.
timeline. It's like 18 hours, I believe, is what I read in the mission timeline.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you'll be able to watch the whole time, and I'm assuming it's going to be great views inside the capsule. SpaceX always puts on a good show. They're teaming up with NASA again, just like they did for DM1.
Yeah, this is going to win the Webby right here.
Yeah, well, they won an Emmy for that.
Yeah,
There are
they
multiple
won
Emmys, right?
an Emmy for this. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. They'll get an Emmy for this. Absolutely.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great broadcast, even though obviously, Jim Bridenstine's made it clear that we would prefer everybody not flock to the Space Coast. Yeah, stay home. Watch online with your
Everything
family.
opens back up though. Like Jetty Park just announced today that they're opening back up. So
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was actually, I have a tab for that, I think.
yeah, that was this morning because Gavin retweeted it, and then I retweeted it because I was going to read it.
The sheriff's leaning on them to open up all the parks and beaches and get everything rolling again, so that there's going to be places for people to watch the launch, because the sheriff wants people to go.
Well, and if we're living in reality, you can discourage people from coming as much as you want, but people are still going to do what they want. I mean, we are still in a free society. People are going to do what they want.
Carol says Jetty open but limited.
Oh yeah, right. It's only to annual pass holders.
What?
Yeah, it's only annual pass holders, which
people can get in.
and they're not selling annual passes right now, so you have to already be an annual pass holder, and they're also only going up to 50% capacity, which, if I remember right, was 230 cars.
And then Stephanie says, which I saw today also, was the beach parking will open on the 8th, so tomorrow.
Yeah, all public beach parking is going to be open in Cocoa Beach. And Cape Canaveral, they may follow suit. I don't know, but Cocoa Beach.
I don't think Cape Canaveral did they ever close?
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you go up and down Ridgewood, and you if you look towards the beach access, they're all closed.
Because it's a national park.
What?
Yeah. Playa Linda Beach.
Oh, Playa Linda. Yeah, Playa Linda's closed. Yeah. But they may be open by then.
Yeah, I was gonna say they might be open for a DM2.
But
I know
they
that
may not allow because 39A is quite close to Playa Linda, so
it's very close.
Usually it depends on the direction of the wind.
Mm-hmm.
On that day, because if there is an anomaly and something blows up, because the spacecraft does have hypergolic fuel on board, and if the wind drifts towards spectators, that's a dangerous time. You don't want to do that.
Super dangerous.
Super dangerous.
Just be out there with your gas mask on. You'll be all right.
Like, even if that stuff touches you, you die.
Right.
Well, damn. I got a bunny suit.
All right, so I just saw the clock. So there were some other things that we wanted to touch on, and we always do this. We go super long. Bekah, did you read up on coral reefs?
I did.
Tell us about coral reefs.
So NASA has put out this video game, and when I first saw an article about it, it said it was for the Switch, I think. But I discovered today that it's available on the phone as well, so I started playing it. They have this game about coral reefs where basically they have like you get to virtually go around and identify different bits of coral reef, and the whole point of it is the more people that do it, the more research they're going to acquire. Basically, they have so much research that they can't do. They're basically enlisting the help of people to come play this game and help them. And I think it's really cool that NASA, which is primarily a program about space, primarily, they're doing something that's helping the planet that we're currently living on. And I started playing it today, and it's pretty fun, and it's kind of like you have to use 2 fingers to do this and 3 fingers to do like the rotations and stuff, and you get to paint stuff. So you get to paint
it's actually
the corals.
fun. It's not just simply identifying things.
It's like you get to interact with it all. But the most fun part is when you first start it, it prompts you to pick a username. And I just took a couple of screenshots of some of the noteworthy ones that it suggested to me, such as Admiral Anchovy Sr.
That's me.
Lieutenant Kelp Island.
That's beautiful.
Brotherly Sea Lion Lobster.
Wow.
Gee, randomly putting stuff together.
Shrimp 237.
That implies 236 people have picked shrimp already.
And this is endless, by the way. You can just keep hitting it over and over, and it just never stops. Attractive orca puffin.
All right.
I like that one.
I mean, orcas and puffins do kind of look alike.
Kind of.
Not at all.
This one's really good. Scientific ship. It's very,
That's good.
very plain on the nose. And worm walrus. But eventually I settled on huge tuna buoy.
Wow. Was Bodie McBoatface taken?
It has to be.
I didn't see that one, but
It's
I went
a
with-
classic.
went with huge tuna buoy. And the first thing that you see after you start is like this little message from Dr. Sylvia Earle, who is an oceanographer and deep sea explorer. And it's a really cool game. And I'm playing it on my phone, and you should play it on your phone.
There you go.
Harry-
all I googled was NASA coral reef game, so you can find it pretty easily.
Pretty easy.
Harry, I don't think anybody actually knows how to pronounce that. Elon Musk.
Oh, Elon's new kid's name.
Oh no, he explained it on Joe Rogan today. It's X-A12.
X-A12. That's what they named their child.
That's yeah.
Gosh.
And he also admitted that it was his partner that mostly came up with the name. His contribution was the A12 because it was his favorite aircraft.
Your name has a number in it.
It also has like a Greek letter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, your name has a number in it.
That is beautiful.
I want to know how they're actually going to say it.
I don't know.
They're just probably going to call him Ash.
Or no,
Yeah,
they're
probably.
going to call him, come here, beep boop.
Beep bop dee bop whoop meow.
X.
X.
Come here, X.
All right, cool. So I'm probably gonna get this game and see what. So there actually are other things kind of like this. I'm not sure how many NASA's done, but there's a lot of things where like because the human brain, even to like someone that hasn't gone to school for this stuff, the human brain is so much better at recognizing patterns than computers are. They're getting better, but humans are. That's why we're so good at the stuff we're good at, is because our brains are good at recognizing patterns. That's also why we have superstitions about the constellations. So it's push and pull here. It's good and bad, but we're super good at it. And there's a lot of these crowdsource science help opportunities out there.
Soho is the big one. That was used recently to find this comet that's up in the sky, the comet Swan.
Oh, is that okay? So is that one of the ones where you just go through these like pairs of frames?
Capture images, and you're just looking at the frames. You go to the website, you look through the frames, and if you see comets, you say, "Hey, this has a comet in it."
Yeah, you're basically looking for something to move from one image to the other because you've got the background stars, and you're looking for one of those stars to move, which is not a star; it's a comet or asteroid or something. Is that right?
Well, Soho actually, what you're seeing is a circle on the screen that's blotting out the sun, and it's just looking at the area around the sun.
Ah, right.
And you're looking for things that are moving quickly toward the sun. Those are comets.
Right. You remember what SOHO stands for? Something
It's
Helios.
Solar Heliospheric Observatory.
There you go. Beautiful. Yeah. So if you're, if you're still cooped up, you're still quarantining, it's a good way to pass the time, contribute to the science.
There's a lot of science that's getting crowdsourced. They're working on a program to crowdsource COVID-19 research. So a lot of people or a lot of scientists are taking advantage of the ability of the human brain to spot patterns better than a computer can.
Yeah. What was the other thing? We got Tom Cruise is going to the space station, or so we think.
Yeah. Tom Cruise in space, maybe.
Yeah, that's Steven.
Yeah, go. Take it away.
Huh? I don't know much other than
I don't know. There's really not much out there, is there?
It's just
Jim Bridenstine. It's on the screen. It's on my screen.
So from what I saw, and I heard a news journal article about this on the television, they're talking about making the next Mission Impossible movie, and some scenes will be on the International Space Station.
Yeah, that's what it would be. It's not going to be an entire movie, I don't think, on the space station.
Well, I mean, per the contract that SpaceX and NASA have agreed to for the use of the docking port that they have in that portion of the space station, they can stay for up to 30 days. So they get like 30 days of filming time, and that would include all their setup and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whenever they were starting to, or well, not starting to, but one of the things that Jim Bridenstine has mentioned is that the hope is that SpaceX will be able to use Crew Dragon in commercial ways, not just bringing astronauts, but also like he had mentioned doing commercials up there. I'm not sure he ever said movies, but that's kind of implied. Bring a film crew up there, film some stuff up there. You know?
Absolutely. And
some red cameras up there.
has the contract with
high
Space
definition.
Adventures, so I was kind of expecting that something like this would be coming down the pipe very quickly, because there's not a lot of like people that just have $100 million to spend to go to space, but a movie crew and a movie would have that kind of money.
Right. Yeah. Well, what is the cost of an entire like a Crew Dragon flight? I want to say that the price was like 50 million per seat or something like that, right?
55 million a seat. So that put the total cost, if you wanted to put 4 people up at a time, which is kind of what the Crew Dragon max that NASA wants to allow them to use would be 4 at a time. Eventually they want to rate it for higher, but they're going to start with 4 and then move up. But
I can never see a movie studio paying that much money.
$220 million.
Sure.
No way. Most movies cost about $200 million. That's all together.
Allowed
a movie.
It's Mission Impossible.
Yeah, Mission.
And then wait, you spend another $300 million just to film a couple scenes. Now your movie is $900 million. You'll never make a.
And actually, interesting point is that the limit is 30 days, so you can't really couple it with a normal crew rotation. You're not. I would have an astronaut on board. So then, if they have one astronaut, then you got 3. So you got Tom Cruise, a director, and a cameraman. Or maybe the director can be the cameraman, and maybe they have another actor or something.
Yeah, I could see director / cameraman, and then they got to have like a makeup person or something like that.
True. Yeah, because you're gonna have to sleep up there. Hey, I mean, it does say in Jim Bridenstine's tweet, a film aboard the space station. They're working on a film aboard the space station. So.
I don't know.
I know. Yeah,
we craft services and all that kind of stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, it's Tom Cruise, man. You're not going to give him a PB&J and expect him to be happy.
I like the CNET article. That's what I brought up to read about it, and it has a picture from 2005, the World of the Worlds, and then it says, "But he's never made a movie in space."
Yeah.
No crap.
Yeah.
Nobody. No actor has.
Maybe he's going to get coached up where he can be certified to be the pilot or the commander or whatever, because he is
Travolta. He's a pilot.
Well, Tom Cruise is a pilot.
Oh, he's a pilot too?
Yeah, he is a pilot.
He learned how to fly a helicopter. He's flown FA-18s.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Can he push buttons on the screen? He's going to be all right.
Yeah, you'd be fine.
Let's see. Let's go, Matt. We were going to have you talk about the China capsule, which is still in orbit, right?
Yeah, it's still in orbit, but they keep putting out misinformation on it, man. So I don't really know what's going on with it, because first they said that there was an anomaly, and now they came out today saying that it's fine again. Like there was no anomaly, that it's acting just fine.
Wait a minute. This is China, right?
Yeah.
This is right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's not that bad. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so like at first they said that there was what it was with the inflatable heat shield, so that there was an issue with the inflatable heat shield. Now they put out something today that's saying that, oh no, there was no problem with the inflatable heat shield. Everything's just fine. It's still in orbit. It's doing just fine. It's going to land tomorrow. So I'll be putting out more information. Once I get some solid answers on what's going on with that thing.
Well, it's probably good that happened like before the show, because I feel like if we had done this show like 12 hours ago, we thought that the capsule had re-entered and disintegrated or something, right? Like that was what I thought.
Yeah, that was my thought.
So as of right now, the official word is everything's cool.
Yep, it's all good.
Now, someone did get an amazing shot of the Long March launching, and that is just that's beautiful.
Yeah, That
It
is
is that's
amazing
a
launch.
sexy launch right there.
That's their heavy heavy rocket right there.
Yeah, and this is also part of the certification. Like, yes, it's certifying that, but they also want to be able to certify this particular rocket, recertify this rocket to be able to launch for moon launches, because that's what they're going to be doing later this year. Is they have a moon launch, and this is also the rocket they're going to use for the Mars launch.
Right. Yeah. So this launch was two different payloads. Was a test. It's actually a test flight of both a cargo section and the actual crew capsule as well. So they're actually testing both. Now the cargo section has already landed. It landed on Wednesday. It came up and it landed. The actual crew
Successfully?
capsule.
Like everything was good? So that wasn't the anomaly maybe that they were mentioning? Okay.
No, they're talking about the crew capsule, but again, information keeps going back and forth, saying, "Oh, it was this," and "No, it was this," and "It was this." So
it is
I
very
can't
typical for China.
Right, exactly. So what you see there on the screen is basically what I was able to dig up from what is going on right now. Again, once it lands on Friday, hopefully we'll get some more information, I can update it.
All right.
So
yeah, we'll try to keep you posted. Maybe next week we'll have we'll know more. I mean, it's got to come down, so probably by next week we'll know more.
Yeah, that's why I don't really like reporting too much on China stuff, because the information is just all over the place.
Jarbled, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, this is what happened, and this is what happened. And it's just like, well, what happened?
Also, a tweet came out from the Perseverance rover that we're 70 days out from launch, and here's just an awesome picture of it here.
I can't wait for the launch.
Now, as far as I know, it's already encapsulated. Like this has to be an old picture because it's not out in a room somewhere. This is an older picture. So, after this first crewed launch, we also have the Mars rover to look forward to. And then, I wanted to make sure that we showed at least one video of the static fire. This is the picture that Elon posted a few days ago. It's from one of their pad cameras. It's not him up under the pad, I don't think.
That would be awesome if it was, though.
Yeah. So one little Raptor underneath Starship. This is the first full size Starship prototype, and it did complete a static fire. So we'll show NASA Spaceflight's awesome footage. Mary Boca Chica gal has been out there getting incredible footage.
Well, it didn't blow up. I'm very happy.
It's very
Twice.
good news. Yeah, didn't blow up, and then it also lit last night. And it was, I think last night's was a little bit longer. I mean, I think this one maybe was 3 seconds, and then the one last night was maybe 5 seconds. But yeah, it didn't blow, and that's the first one to not.
Not according to one guy. He said, "Oh, last night's static fire went for an astonishing 2.5 minutes," and everybody tore them apart. They're like,
Definitely
"Dude, what are you talking about?"
Yeah, definitely not.
I could have gone to space.
I was like, "No, you're wrong, man. We're 2 seconds."
All right. Well, so I think that's everything I wanted to touch on. There is another thing that maybe I can hit next week. It has to do with the Trump administration is trying to put an agreement together to have some kind of an understanding around mining on the moon and who owns what, because the Outer Space Treaty says that no government or entity can own anything in space, and so they're going to try and do something. We'll save that for next week because it's that's going to be a slow process anyway.
Now, next week we do have a double header as far as launches go.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
We'll probably save that for next show.
And I've got the video that Boeing put out of the X-37B, but I figure next week is still going to be before the show or before the launch.
Right.
So we'll wait till next week, and
it's going to be good.
Appreciate chat, everybody hanging out. Harry, Stephanie, Klebby. I know Daryl. Yeah, Daryl's still in there, and Gene stopped by to say hey.
Mm-hmm.
Always good to talk to Gene. We'll have to get him back on. I'm trying to think of the best time to have him back on. I know we just had a static fire. Should we get him on now? Or, should we wait till there's a hop, you know, because he's there firsthand and witnessing this stuff. So we're gonna try to get Space Padre back.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's been a good show. Thanks, Brent, for joining us. It's been
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
awesome. Yeah.
I'd love to be back on here someday too.
Oh man, we didn't mention your pinball machine because before the show you told us that you take pieces out and get them signed by astronauts, right?
Yeah, I have everybody. Well, not everybody, but I have people from STS-1 to STS-135. I've had like 24 astronauts autograph my space shuttle pinball machine.
Awesome.
Wow, that is sexy.
So if you're an audio listener, you want to check out this episode to see Brent's awesome pinball machine.
Pinball machine.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's been a show.
And Tom Hanks and stare at you the whole time in the background.
True that. All right. Thanks, everybody. Play us out.
All right. Take care.
Shutdown sequence initiated. Shutting down.